Okay. Are you ready?
One question.
Get us started.
Once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, there was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich named PB.
PB. Okay. PB was sitting on the counter in someone's house. That someone in particular was a man that went by the name of Professor Peanut Butter. Now, Professor Peanut Butter, as the name might have clued you in, was a professor, but the school that he taught at was no ordinary school. He taught at a school for special individuals, not just people, mind you. I say individuals because it was all living creatures. Anyone could go to this school if they were selected, carefully reviewed by a board who selected each and every member of the school to fill a purpose. In this case, today's student was a peanut butter sandwich.
And jelly.
As you might have guessed, this, of course, was no ordinary peanut butter sandwich. In fact, it was able to communicate. It did not have a mouth, though, but it communicated telepathically. This was first discovered by a young girl about the age of 7 who sat down to make a sandwich one day and opened the fridge, put some peanut butter on her sandwich, and then some jelly, and then something happened. She did not hear it in her ears, but she heard it in her head, and it said, "Please, I need to live." And she looked around in fear and shock and said, "Where did that come from? Who said that?" And again, she just heard, "Please, please don't eat me." And then she knew, and she looked down at this peanut butter sandwich and thought, "Well, that's quite odd. Is this peanut butter talking to me?" And the peanut butter said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, why shouldn't I eat you? You're delicious." Peanut butter said,
No, I don't want
"Because I need to find Princess Jelly." And the girl said, "Well, I was going to put this jelly on you. Can I eat you after that?" And he said, "No, I need to find the princess. She's a special jelly, the jelly of my heart. I vowed to find her no matter when and where she went." And the girl said, "When did you see her last?" And the peanut butter said, "I don't know. We were at a giant factory." And the girl's like, "Well, you're a long way from that, and there's no telling where she is. However, I know a Professor Peanut Butter who may be able to help you." And the sandwich said, "Did you say Professor Peanut Butter?" The girl says, "Yes." He goes, "I thought he was a myth. All peanut butters talk about Professor Peanut Butter, but they speak of him as if he doesn't actually exist. Are you messing with me?" The girl said, "No, surely he does exist. I will call him." So she called him, and that's how the peanut butter sandwich got onto the counter where Professor Peanut Butter was standing. What were you asking?
May I please have some water?
Yes. And so there they were, Professor Peanut Butter and the peanut butter sandwich. And the professor says, "Well, would you like to come with me?" And the peanut butter says, "Yes. Can you help me find my princess?" And the professor says, "Look, pal, I'm going to level with you. I don't know. When you guys were made, that was at a factory far, far away, and she could be anywhere in the world. She could even have been eaten by now." And the peanut butter says, No, I don't think she has been. I can hear her thoughts, just as you can hear mine." Professor Peanut Butter said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa there, kid. Really? Well, that makes things a lot easier. Why didn't you list that amongst our options?" And he said, "Well, I didn't really consider that
May I have
till
water
now."
over here?
"No, I need it. In fact, I need it right now. I'm very thirsty."
Why don't you just take an ice
At any rate, so
in your mouth?
Professor Peanut Butter said, "Come with me, and we'll get you squared away." So the peanut butter looked at him, and then Peanut Butter looked at the sandwich, and the sandwich looked at him, and he finally said, Professor? And the professor said, well, are you coming? And he goes, dude, I don't have legs. And he's like, oh, right. So he picked up the peanut butter sandwich and he put him in a baggie, and off they went. It only took him a few hours to get back to the school and to look up in a few old textbooks some interesting notes about peanut butter and their clairvoyant abilities. But he was heretofore unaware that jelly had the same clairvoyant telepathic abilities. And he couldn't find the books on it either. But now their library was huge. It had thousands and thousands of books, all kinds of books, magic books, cookbooks, school books, even books that little kids wrote. One of which was titled something about Leia. I don't remember what it was.
Leia's story.
Oh, Leia's story. Yes, that was in their libraries as well.
I'm writing it.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And so they kept searching, and eventually they did come across one dusty old book way back in the far, far corner in the nonfiction section, which appropriately named, for this story at least, it was nonfiction, right? And it told of a tale of a jelly fairy who once came down and blessed all the jellies and the grapes and made those little grapes talking and singing. In fact, there used to be a commercial made of them. There were grapes that had been turned into raisins. They had little hats and they danced and everything. It was really neat. I'll have to show it to you sometime. But anyway, I'm not talking any video. I got my eyes closed. Yes, ask me sometime. They're called the California grapes. They were very famous. And anyway, they sang and danced. Yeah, they were totally alive. Anyway, so the book does talk about jelly and its clairvoyant abilities. And the peanut butter sandwich looks at Professor Peanut Butter rather and says, "See, told you so."
His name is PB.
PB, that's right. So PB looks at PPB, Professor Peanut Butter, PB and PPB. And the professor says, look, I know you know she's alive, but can you talk to her? And the peanut butter sandwich says, no, that's what's concerning is she must just be really far away. I just know she's alive. And so the professor thinks for a moment. He says, come with me. They walk down a hall. This was a very big campus, mind you. They walk down a hall, out the building, and down the yard, and into another building, and down that hall, and then down some stairs, and then the stairs went spiral and kept going down, 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 and then come out to this bridge that then they cross over. And finally, at the end of this bridge, there's a strange-looking little device with it is huge, with two little probes sticking out of it. So Professor Peanut Butter looks at PB and says, I'm going to insert these probes. And PB looks at the professor and says, whoa, wait a minute, pal. I didn't sign up for this. And he goes, relax. These are going to help you find your princess. What they do is they amplify your signal to go out all over the world. And he's like, oh, not what I was thinking, but okay, yes, let's do it. And so he puts the probes in, and PB suddenly has this surge of energy. And he stops even just a second after he got probed. He looked at Professor Peanut Butter. He said, I know right where she is. So they got onto a plane. They had trouble getting onto the plane, mind you, because through security, the gate agent at TSA stopped him and said, whoa, 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 no food. And PB's like, I'm not food, dude. I'm a peanut butter sandwich. And the TSA agent looks at him. He's like, you're food. And he goes, well, I'm talking to you. Have you ever heard of talking peanut butter sandwich? TSA agent's like, no, but you're food. He goes, well, I'm not being eaten. Can I please go through? And he goes, we let knives through. Why not? Anyway, so he goes through and they get on a plane and they go over to Australia. She was all the way on the other side of the world. And they get there. What?
Wait,
What?
one question.
What?
Where were they?
They were in Baltimore, in
What's
the
Baltimore?
United States, a little tiny town called Baltimore. And anyway, so they get all the way to Melbourne in Australia, and they land, and they get off the plane, and someone says, "G'day, mate." And Professor Peanut Butter says, "Can you point me to 123 Wallaby Way?" And he says, "Sure thing, mate. Go up here, turn left at the crikey, take a crocky, and then go to the right B." And Professor's like, sure, okay. And then he pulls out his phone and he gets a GPS map and he goes that way instead. So they follow that trail. They get there, and lo and behold, it's a young girl's house named Penelope Pineapple. Well, Penelope happens to love jelly sandwiches. So she's right in the middle of making this sandwich. And they knock on the door right when she's got the sandwich up to her mouth. She's about to take a bite of it. And the door, she stops. And finally, she answers the door, and Professor Peanut Butter says, "Hello, my name is Professor Peanut Butter." And she goes, "Well, hello, Professor. My name is Penelope Pineapple. Pleasure to meet you." And he says, "May I have a look at that sandwich?" She goes, "How did you know I was about to eat a sandwich?" She goes, "Well, I've got my friend Peebee here, and he says that sandwich happens to contain the love of his life." And she goes, "That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard." And so Professor Peanut Butter says, "Hey, just indulge me, okay? Indulge the sandwich, would you?" And she's like, "You're kind of a weirdo, and I'm not sure I should let you in. So why don't I bring the sandwich to you?" He goes, "Yeah, that's cool, whatever." So she brings the sandwich out, and then all of a sudden, as soon as she gets close to the door, the sandwich flies out of her hand, and the two sandwiches like stick together almost as if they were made to go together, peanut butter and jelly. And that is how peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were invented. Did you know that?
You're just making up a story.
No.
That's really, really good.
No, that's how they were invented, right?
Pinky promise?
Yeah, totes. And then they get onto the plane, they go back to Baltimore, and they start their own little family, and they name their last name became Smuckers, right? And so the Smuckers family became famous throughout the world for making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You can look them up sometime. They're out there. Anyway, that's the end. You want to say goodnight?
Good night, future self. I'm probably gonna be bored when I'm you.
You're going to be what?
Bored.
You're going to be bored when you're that age? Oh, okay. Oh, you think when you're real old. Like, how old's real old?
2.
Huh?
2.
You've already made that age. Anyway, so, like, yeah, maybe in your 20s or 30s. Is that what you're thinking?
87.
87. Yeah, you might be bored by then, I guess, huh? Okay. Love you.
Okay,
Good night.
bye.